Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader. Implants. The 19 organs created by the ancient technicians of the Emperor are described here. Each of these organs is extremely complicated, and because many of the organs only work properly when another organ is present, the removal or mutation of one organ may affect the exact functioning of the others. For these reasons, implants must be constantly monitored, and many Marines have to undergo corrective surgery or chemotherapy to rebalance their metabolisms. Phase 1. The secondary heart. The simplest and most sufficient implant. The secondary heart is capable of boosting the blood supply or maintaining full life functions even with the destruction of the recipient's original heart. The Phase 1 implant enables Marines to survive low oxygen concentrations and traumatic injury. Phase 2. The Osmodular. This is a tubular-shaped organ whose small size belies its complex structure. The Osmodular monitors and secretes hormones affecting epithelial fusion and ossification of the skeleton. At the same time, the specially engineered hormones encourage the forming bones to absorb ceramic-based chemicals administered in the Marine's diet. 2 years following implantation, this will have caused considerable strengthening of the long bones, extreme ossification of the chest cavity caused by growth of the ribs forming a solid mass of interlaced bone plates, and a general increase in size of the recipient's skeleton. Phase 3. The Bisco Pia. This organ is implanted into the chest cavity. It is a small, approximately circular, and, like the Osmodular, its primary action is hormonal. The presence of the Bisco Pia stimulates muscle growth throughout the body. Phase 4. The Hemastamen. This tiny organ is implanted into a main blood vessel. The hemastamen serves two purposes. It monitors and to some degree controls the Phase 2 and 3 implants. The organ also alters the constituent makeup of the recipient's blood. As a result, Marine blood is considerably more efficient than ordinary human blood, as it has to be when you consider the extra biological hardware a Marine carries inside him. Phase 5. Lyman's organ. This is a liver-shaped, dark, fleshy organ about the size of a golf ball. It is implanted into the chest cavity along with a complicated array of blood vessels. The organ generates and stores special Lyman cells. If the recipient is wounded, these cells are released into the bloodstream. They latched on to leukocytes in the blood and are transported to the site of a wound. Once in contact with air, the Lyman cells form a skin substitute of instant scar tissue, staunching the flow of blood and protecting any exposed wound area. Phase 6. The catalepsian node. This brain implant is usually inserted into the back of the skull via a hole drilled into the occipital bone. The pea-sized organ influences the circadian rhythms of sleep and the body's response to sleep deprivation. Normally a Marine sleeps like any other man, but if deprived of sleep, the catalepsian node cuts in. A man implanted with the node is capable of sleeping and remaining awake at the same time by switching off areas of the brain sequentially. This process cannot replace normal sleep entirely, but increases a Marine's survivability by allowing perception of the environment whilst resting. Phase 7. The Prion. The Prion is a large implant which fits into the chest cavity. It is a pre-digestive stomach which allows the Marine to eat a variety of otherwise poisonous or indigestible materials. No actual digestion takes place in the Prion. Individual sensory tubes assess potential poisons and neutralize them, or where necessary, isolate the Prion from the rest of the digestive tract. Phase 8. The Omophagia. This is a complicated implant. It really becomes part of the brain, but is actually situated within the spinal cord between the cervical and thoracic vertebrae. 4 nerve sheaths called neuroclea are implanted between the spine and the preomnal stomach wall. The omophagia is designed to absorb genetic material generated in animal tissue as a function of memory, experience, or innate ability. This endows the marine with an unusual survival trait. He can literally learn by eating. If a marine eats part of a creature, he will absorb some of the memories of that creature. This can be very useful in an alien environment. Incidentally, it is the presence of this organ which has created the various flesh and blood drinking rituals for which the Marines are famous, as well as giving the names to chapters such as the Blood Drinkers or Flesh Tearers, etc. Phase 9. The multi-lung. This is another large implant. The multi-lung, or third lung, is a tubular grey organ. Blood is pumped through the organ via connecting vessels grafted onto the recipient's pulmonary system. Atmosphere is taken in by means of a sphincter located in the trachea. In toxic atmospheres, an associated sphincter muscle closes the trachea and restricts normal breathing, thus protecting the lungs. The multi-lung is able to absorb oxygen from poorly oxygenated or poisonous air. Most importantly, it is able to do this without suffering damage thanks to its own efficient toxin dispersal, neutralization, and regeneration systems. Phase 10. The oculobe. This small slug-like organ sits at the base of the brain. It provides the hormonal and genetic stimuli which enable a marine's eyes to respond to optic therapy. The oculobe does not itself improve a marine's eyesight, but it allows technicians to make adjustments to the growth patterns of the eye and the light-receptive retinal cells. An adult marine has far better eyesight than a normal human, and can see in low-light conditions almost as well as in daylight. Phase 11. Lyman Xia. This organ enables a marine to consciously enhance and even filter certain types of background noise. Not only is hearing improved, but a marine cannot become dizzy or nauseous as a result of extreme disorientation. The Lyman Xia is externally indistinguishable from a normal human ear. Phase 12. The Susan membrane, or suspended animation membrane. This flat circular organ is implanted over the top of the exposed brain. It then grows into the brain tissue until completely merged. The organ is ineffective without subsequent chemical therapy and training. However, a properly tutored marine may then enter into a state of suspended animation. This may be a conscious action or may happen automatically in the event of extreme physical trauma. In this condition, a marine may survive for many years, even if bearing otherwise fatal injuries. Only appropriate chemical therapy and auto-suggestion can revive a marine from this state. A marine cannot revive himself. The longest known period of deanimation followed by successful reanimation is 567 years in the case of Brother Silas of the Dark Angels, in the year 321 of M27. Phase 13, the melanochrome, or melanochromic organ, is hemispherical and black. It functions in an indirect and extremely complicated manner. It monitors radiation levels and types bombarding the skin, and, if necessary, sets off chemical reactions to darken the skin to prevent it from ultraviolet exposure. It also provides a limited protection from other forms of radiation. Phase 14. The Oolitic kidney. This red-brown and heart-shaped organ improves and modifies the marine's circulatory system, enabling other implants to function effectively. The Oolitic kidney also filters blood extremely efficiently and quickly. The secondary heart and oolitic kidney are able to act together. performing an emergency detoxification program in which the Marine is rendered unconscious as his blood is circulated at high speed. This enables a Marine to survive poisons and gases which are otherwise too much for even the multi-lung to cope with. Phase 15. The Neuro Glottis. Although the Prion protects a Marine from digesting anything too deadly, the Neuro Glottis enables him to assess a potential food by taste. The organ is implanted into the back of the mouth. By chewing or simply by tasting, a Marine can detect a wide variety of natural poisons, some chemicals, and even the distinctive odours of some creatures. To some degree, a Marine is also able to track a target by taste alone. Phase 16. The mucranoid. This small organ is implanted in the lower intestine, where its hormonal secretions are absorbed by the colon. These secretions initiate a modification of the sweat glands. This modification normally makes no difference to the Marine until activated by appropriate chemotherapy. As a result of this treatment, the Marine sweats an oily, naturally cleansing substance which coats the skin. This protects the Marine against extremes of temperature and even offers a slight degree of protection in vacuum. Mucranoid chemotherapy is standard procedure on long space voyages and when fighting in vacuum or near vacuum. Phase 17. The Betcher's gland. Two of these identical glands are implanted, either into the lower lip, alongside the salivary glands, or into the hard palate. Betcher's glands work in a similar way to the poison gland of venomous reptiles, by synthesizing and storing deadly poison. Marines are rendered immune to this poison by virtue of the gland's presence. The gland allows the Marine to spit a blinding contact poison. The poison is also highly acidic and corrosive. A Marine imprisoned behind iron bars could easily chew his way out, given an hour or so. And Phase 18. The progenoids. There are two of these glands, one situated in the neck, the other deep within the chest cavity. These glands are important to the survival of the Marine's chapter. Each organ grows within the Marine, absorbing hormonal stimuli and genetic material from the other implants. After 5 years, the neck gland is mature and ready for removal. After 10 years, the chest gland becomes mature and is also ready for removal. A gland may be removed any time after it has matured. These glands represent a chapter's only source of gene seed. When mature, each gland contains a single gene seed corresponding to each zygote implanted into the recipient Marine. Once removed by surgery, the progenoid must be carefully prepared, its individual gene seeds checked for mutation, and sound gene seeds stored. Gene seeds can be stored indefinitely under suitable conditions. Phase 19. The black carapace. This is the last and the most distinctive implant. It looks like a film of black plastic when it's growing in the tanks. This is removed from its culture solution and cut into sheets, which are implanted directly beneath the skin of the Marine's torso. Within a few hours, the tissue expands, hardens on the outside, and sends several invasive neural bundles deep inside the Marine. After several months, the carapace will have fully matured, and the recipient is then fitted with neural sensors and transfusion points cut into this hardened carapace. These artificial plug-in points mesh with features integral to the powered armour, such as the monitoring, medicinal, and maintenance unit. Without the benefit of a black carapace, a Space Marine's armour is relatively useless. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, then please be sure to like and subscribe, or even leave a comment. I always try my best to reply to them all. You can even now support the channel by joining the Patreon page, details of which are in the description below. Thank you again for watching, And always remember to drill your barrels.